On June 10, 1981, 8 Republican prisoners on remand in Belfast's Crumlin Road jail shot their way to freedom from one of the most heavily guarded prisons in Europe, in one of the most daring IRA escapes ever. The men came out the way they went in, through the front gate. The regime inside Crumlin Road jail on that day was just like any other. The prison had been the scene of several protests regarding strip searching shortly beforehand, but the rules had been somewhat relaxed. On A and C wings, the remand prisoners were outside in the yard for exercise. Several men from each wing, as normal, were called for visits. Some of these visits were from solicitors, and an area of the prison was set aside to allow legal teams and the accused a place to discuss their business in private. When warders came to bring back one set of prisoners to their wing, the operation began. One of the volunteers produced a gun, forced the warders to release the other prisoners, and then locked about 10 warders in the cell. They then made their way to B Wing's visiting area and arrested all the warders, visitors, and solicitors who were there, before locking about 30 up in a room. One warder, who went for his baton, was disarmed and hit over the head. 2 warders and a solicitor were ordered to strip, and 3 of the IRA volunteers, dressed in 2 uniforms and a suit respectively, calmly walked to the main gate, which was opened for them. They then pulled guns on the real warders in this key security area and made them lie on the ground until their 5 comrades ran across a small courtyard to join them. Once outside, however, the alarm was set off and British Army sentries poured a hail of automatic fire at the prisoners from a watchtower before they could reach the front gate. Undeterred, the prisoners dashed through the bullets, weaving from side to side to throw off their attackers. Outside the prison, cars had been parked by the IRA's Belfast brigade in the car park of the health clinic beside the courthouse, their ignition keys hidden under the floor mats. The prisoners ran across the road towards the health center, dodging bullets as they went. The escapees headed towards the Loyalist Shankill area, where they commandeered cars to help their getaway. Stunned by the daring escapees, the Crown forces erected checkpoints across Belfast and along all border routes. As the men made their escape, clearly visible to Republican prisoners in cells on the top landing of A Wing, loud cheers went up and makeshift flags were flown from the windows. 7 of the escapees, known as the M60 Gang, were brothers Tony and Jerry Sloan, Gerard McKee, Joe Doherty, Angelo Fusco, Patrick Dingus McGee, and Tony Campbell. All were from Belfast and charged in connection either with an M60 machine gun attack in 1980 on an RUC patrol in Andersonstown, or with the siege on the Antrim Road in May 1980 when an SAS captain was killed.
The search for the 8 men centered on the Republican areas of West Belfast, where the security chiefs believe the wanted men are still in hiding.
The news then came on and says that the 8 men had escaped from Crumlin Road jail. It was a big relief that the rest of the lads were, had also made it.
The thing was, when I think back of it, if that door had been open, I would have jumped in the back with maybe Angelo and Biggie McKee, and then we would have been all dead. So whatever the circumstances of why those back doors weren't open, probably saved all their lives.
The 8th escapee was Pete Ryan from Arbo, County Tyrone, who had been charged with killing an RUC reservist and a UDR soldier. All 8 men reached safe houses within the hour, and after lying low for a short while, were spirited over the border to begin new lives on the run. 1 week later, at the annual pilgrimage to the graveside of Wolfe Tone, the father of republicanism, which is always a source of renewed strength for its participants, the crowd was given an added morale boost when at the closing ceremony one of the escapees, Patrick Dingus McGee, made a dramatic appearance on the platform. There were many more attempts to break free from Crumlin Road jail before it finally closed its doors in April 1995, having been used as a weapon in the attempted suppression of the Irish freedom struggle for 151 years.
So what the judge done was he actually went ahead with the sentence in absentia, as they call it. He sentenced us without us actually being in the court.
Mr. Justice Hutton, as he then was, read out his judgment and then proceeded to sentence the people in their absence. To be sentenced in your absence, or for a judge to sentence what is basically an empty chair, I have never ever come across that. That is the only time in my career as a solicitor that I have come across that.
So it was a great day because the woman in celebration got me like a big steak with onions on it for the 6 o'clock news. And she got me a black Russian with ice in it, you know.
The woman in our house made us a cup of tea. We got in the news. It told us what sentences would be given. We weren't caring what sentence we got. You, Robert Campbell, sentenced you to life imprisonment with a recommendation that you serve no less than 30 years.
You would have to know the layout of the Crumlin Road prison, the security that was there. You would have to know all that to appreciate what they actually did, the number of gates that get through, out onto the Crumlin Road and then to get away. It's amazing.
IRA volunteer Pete Ryan would later be shot dead while on active service with 2 other volunteers in a British shoot-to-kill operation in 1991. A tribute from veteran Irish Republican and 1976 Long Kesh escapee Joe Kelly, Dungiven. As a good man and pal, I spent some time with Pete. We walked and talked around Dublin about history and folks that we'd meet. A sad day for all, that day he was shot. I think of Pete an awful lot. I miss my comrade. Our man, Pete, was hard to beat. He never did back down. He was always up and active until his final round. He could be a lot of fun and witty when times were still. We always have him in our hearts. I guess we always will. They said I was ruthless, daring, savage, bloodthirsty, even heartless. The clergy called me and my comrades murderers, but the British were met with their own weapons. They had gone in the mire to destroy us and our nation, and down after them we had to go. General Tom Barry, 3rd West Cork Brigade, Irish Republican Army,